All right, welcome back after tea. Don't be surprised to see me. I'm just filling in for Diksha, who's multitasking. She's on a call right now. So, wellness is often spoken of today and not as backstory anymore. And that is indeed wonderful. And at GSC, we could not think of anyone else but you, Mr. Ranga. Founder of LAAF Meditation, built on a circle of breathwork, movement, laughter, play, and meditation. So let's immerse ourselves in a bit of fun and banter as we learn to be better and more wholesome human beings. Over to you, Mr. Ranga.
Right. Quite a few people came up to me during the course of the day and asked me, especially in the recent post-lunch session, I hope we are going to have fun. So the answer is an emphatic yes. And in the likes of Mr. Gurcharan Das, my response to his, please don't take yourselves too seriously, is yes, I never have and never will. But I need your cooperation to make this a little bit more energizing. So let me tune the audience, as I call it. People on this side, right, the first couple of tables, if you can hear me clearly and you are present in this moment, can I hear one single clap? People over there, if you can hear me, can I have 2 claps? People in the center row, can I have 3 claps? Wow. Extreme left, can I have 4 claps? All right. Now we will do the same clap in the well-being manner, which is getting your fingertips together, which are your acupressure points. Slowly press your palms together and do the same one all together. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can get the timing right. 1, 2, 3. Bravo. One more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. So these acupressure points would actually have helped you post-tea to get your energy meridians moving and getting some electric impulses up and down. In continuing with this tuning, we will do 2 short exercises. For the first one, wherever you are seated, can I ask you to be a little upright? Keep your neck and shoulders relaxed. Look in front, close your eyes, and take 3 simple breaths. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. No tension, just breathe in and out. From the next breath onwards, I want you to focus on any noise that you hear around you. 30 seconds. Listen actively and see if you can identify any noise around you. It could be your own breathing, the shuffling of papers, somebody's mobile, F&B service. Just listen. At the count of 3, you will open your eyes and turn your attention back to me. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. How many of you heard no noise? Could you put up your hands? How many heard between 1 to 2 noises? Majority. How many heard 3 or more? Bravo. All right, we'll hold that thought. On the table, either in front of you or in the center, you will see a card with my dancing logo on it. I would ask you to flip it over, read the content, and in the next 30 seconds, pick any response that best reflects your usual intention. There is no right or wrong. Do not overthink. Just pick a response. You can just hold it in your mind, or you could tick the boxes. Got it? Just one quick question. How many of you ticked or thought about company culture? That's less than 5% of the people in the room. Okay. There will be no discussion on these exercises, although we will make reference to them in the course of my talk. Can we? How does the first screen appear up there? How do I make this appear over there? It will only come there. All right, okay. Okay, so it'll come over there. There you are. Kya baat hai? What's up? And why? Why this sudden interest in the impact of leadership, behavior, and action? Reasons are many, and I will give you a few at different levels. First, in the immediate surroundings, wherever you are, your vicinity, this is a fact. And you will agree with this, that leaders have an impact on the people around them. And what is concerning it, a lot of the best that you show in the office, the remainder you take and carry home with you. Now, if you expand this into the larger environment, with all the VUCA world that you are exposed to, this is what it would look like. Complex, volatile, ambiguous. Things you as a leader in the modern workplace and business environment are exposed to. But if I had to pick a word for the day, my choice would be the D word, disruption. And the circle is disrupted. Disruption because in my conversations with senior managers across sectors and across geographies, one point comes through. It is the scale of disruption in the environment and the immediate vicinity of a leader that is tormenting most. And the result of this, when you are being messed around with, what happens is leadership DNA under attack. I've just given a few of the points, and the key extract out of this is that from everything that has been happening in the recent 3 or 4 years, when your known responses are not working anymore, when your go-to manual, your SOPs don't serve the purpose because you don't know what's happening and you have not been trained to handle what is happening. And added to that is the new demand on leaders to be a friend, be a guide, be a counselor, be a mentor. Hey, that's asking a lot. So all these end up by impacting the leadership. In fact, this is what I call a trilemma. That's a new word for your dictionary. Anything more than 2, I call it a trilemma. So when you're in a trilemma like this, what you create is a perfect storm of business unusual and leadership not as usual. And in chasing a way forward, in rushing to find answers, leaders often miss out and neglect their own emotional and mental equilibrium. So the question is, how do you raise your game? How do you move beyond coping, which is something we have all excelled at? We manage, we cope, and we move on. But how to create and move on to flourishing and thriving for yourself and for the people around you, your stakeholders. Voila. Conscious leadership, the topic of the day, or as I like to frame it in my wellness world, be well, do well, lead well. Are you with me so far? Yeah? So you know the context to what is coming next.
You started with how many sounds you're hearing.
Sorry?
You said how many sounds you can hear.
Yes, in the exercise, yeah.
So that's the physics part. We could hear sounds.
Yes, yes,
So
absolutely.
it's got nothing. So we heard AC sound, we heard somebody's phones, beep, and your sound.
Correct.
So that's nothing to do with, how we are going to cope up.
No, we will come to
I'm,
that.
I'm just saying the
Right,
sounds.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So I asked. So it was a small exercise in active listening.
No, because
Which
I have
you did
also
so wonderful.
studied psychology, so I'm just saying. Yeah. Thanks.
Noted. So be well, do well, lead well. So this is not a management 101 or an organizational behavior 505 or management 806 lesson. This is a well-being perspective of what is happening in the business world, what is happening at the workplace, and how do you, beyond the typical OB, HR, and management solutions, is there another way forward? Being well. And why does it matter? Because as a leader, if you are not of sound body, mind, and spirit, then your contribution to your organization, to the business, and to society at large will steadily diminish. If there is one lesson that we can take back with us or still living with us in the during and post-COVID era, is that your health matters, your well-being matters. And as I like to frame it, as a leader, your individual transformation will drive collective growth. So there is a reason to it. To reach flourishing and thriving, you need individual transformation as a leader. That alone will drive collective growth. So what is this new world of well-being that we are being exposed to? I call it full spectrum well-being, because what we have learned is that besides physical health, what also matters are mental, emotional, spiritual, social, environmental, and your financial well-being. That's the truth. Now, this is a large universe of wellness practices outside the scope of this session, but I will leave you with some insights and also some practical exercises that we will do that will hopefully show you the way forward, how being well as a leader can have an impact on your leadership, right? How many of you have heard of the happy hormones? Anybody here? That's quite a few. Wonderful. So that's what I call DOSE, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These are naturally released chemicals inside your body, and they occur whenever there are certain events physiologically or psychologically in your body and mind. These are the 4 happy hormones. And what they do, here is a summary. We will not go into details. But the wellness approach, especially the Ranga LAAF approach, says, hey, for these to happen, some events have to occur. What if we could find a way to trigger the release of these hormones at will, on command? And therein lies the basis of the technique that I created, what I call the LAAF way, is how to bypass the system or use some naturally occurring phenomena within your capacity that can lead to the triggering of these kind of hormones, and then you feel good, upbeat, positive, you bond better, you listen better. Isn't that a wonderful thing to do? I call this self-awareness to self-care. And as promised, we will do a few more exercises, laugh and move a bit. If you are able to, please stand up. Otherwise, you can remain seated for some of the exercises, but they work best when you stand up. Come on, come on. You wanted some fun, right? Okay. So wherever you are, at ease, just shake your hands and legs a little bit. Now, rock gently on your toes and heels. Don't fall over, please. Toes, heels. Toes. Get your balance by swinging your arms along with that. Toes, heels. Toes, heels. Toes, heels. Then go to the left and right. Left, right. left, right, left, right. Back to stable. Now, I want you to pretend it is the IPL going on. Each time I throw a ball, try to catch it at whatever angle I throw it, okay? Catch to your left. Both hands up, big catch. Catch low, below your left knee. Right, that's enough. That's some good catching going on. I noticed some people went like this. The science of this is called proprioception. This is the awareness of your body in space. Very invaluable. And especially given that a lot of us are alumni from yesteryears, this is something I've been doing for well over 40 years. When you get off from your bed in the morning, I would recommend before you take your first step towards the loo or wherever, your fall is your biggest enemy as you age. When you step down, put your feet on the ground, stand up near your bed and just rock gently. This is a wake-up call to your body. It gets the system going. The body recognizes that everything is awake. The mind acknowledges that the body is awake, and then your balance, your proprioception creeps in. When that steps in, when you take your next step, you will not fall. So that's your first takeaway of the day. All right? Okay. Now, wherever you're seated, wherever you're standing, you're most of, so take your hands up. Let's put our hands together and get it in front of our chest in the Namaste gesture. Close your eyes just for 10 seconds, 20 seconds max. Again, pressing the tips of your fingers so your palms are perfectly aligned and you're on a straight line. The simple act aligns the left and right energy channels of your body, the energy chakras, and then what we call the meridian lines. Open your eyes. And what we are doing is ensuring that the left and the right nostrils open up and your channels move. This, by the way, we call it the moon and the sun. To remember it, Marks and Spencer's. Yeah? So that's the way to remember. Marks and Spencer's, you have the moon and the sun. Right? Okay. The next one, if you like to stand, you can do that. Otherwise, sit down if you wish to. So one is balance, an essential ingredient of everything that I will be talking. Because from balance, you get integration. And only when you have integration will you have alignment. And that has to show up in everything that you do in the course of your daily life. Laughter and play. Let's share something very quickly. And this is something now a lot of corporates are doing it after my sessions. When you are online or when you are in a meeting, have you noticed a dip in the energy levels and thereby the creativity that comes out after about 20-25 minutes? And why does that happen? Because your breathing becomes shallow. So you're breathing from your middle cage. So your oxygenation is decreased. And that shows up after 20-25 minutes. Haji, so what do you think? Yeah, I'll give it a thought, Or suddenly the idea starts slowing down. And there is a reason for it. So there are several. I'll just show you one. I actually have people in boardrooms and in meetings sitting or standing. Just do this with me. One leg out. Stretch your hands. Curl and breathe in. Release. Release through your mouth. Inhale through the nose. Turn to the other side. Curl and inhale. Breathe out and uncurl. Now, third time, you will curl, inhale deeply. You will hold the breath with me for 3 seconds. When you release, release with a burst of laughter and keep laughing until the air runs out. Okay? Number 3, curl in. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Do it one more time with your focus around the middle part of the lungs. Curl in, hold, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Please be seated. There are dozens of exercises like this that we make people do, embrace, and adopt in their lifestyle. We have I have company clients who now do standing meetings. Every 20 minutes, they do some exercises that we have shown them. And it does wonders. How it elevates the mood, the raise in productivity is just amazing. Breathing, we have already done very basic. I can show you maybe one quick breathing, something that you can do at your desk, even if you're on an online call or you're talking to somebody. Put your hand out, one hand out, all fingers up. Yeah, very simple exercise. With the other one, run your finger up, each finger and down. As you go up, you inhale. As you come down, you exhale. With practice, you will learn to go real slow. Up, inhale, exhale, and down. You have an important meeting coming up with Mr. Oberoi. You're in front of Mrs. Sitharaman's office. You have a meeting coming up. You know, the tension builds up. Everybody has it. Just sit quietly, do this. There's so many 2-3 small exercises. Calms you down, clears up your mind, and you walk in with that swag into that office. Right? These are all, you don't have to go and undergo 6 months courses and all that. It is just naturally happening. And what is all this doing? Triggering the hormonal response in your body. Because one important fact, ladies and gentlemen, is that the mind cannot distinguish between what is true and what is false. So when we laugh, when we move, when we do some of these little tricks, this is what I call body-mind techniques. It tricks the mind into believing that something nice and good is happening. And the automatic response of the mind is, boom, a message to the neurosensors, and they start releasing the hormones. And then you feel good, you feel upright, you get that swag. You get what I'm saying? So it is entirely within your hands to raise your game and be that forward, upwardly mobile, not aggressive, but just assertive person that you want to be, right? Now we talked about Now, in closing, all I want to say about being well is that there are 4 things that seem to be happening or do happen in our lives every day. From the time you open your eyes, you start thinking. Next, you start feeling. Then you have an exchange, interaction, and then you perform. Whatever you're doing as a spouse, as a child, as a father, as a boss, as a worker, through the day, you have this sequential loop. You're thinking, you're feeling, you're interacting, you're performing. And my submission to you is the concept of using this universally simple, naturally occurring rhythms within you. If you use that, forget 10-20%. If your performance or your ability and effectiveness in each of these 4 segments, thinking, feeling, interaction, and performance, if you can increase it by just 2 to 3%, just 2 to 3%, friends, that is when magic happens. I've experienced it, and I've seen other people grow into it. Forget 10-20%, that only happens in the EBITDA. This is what it is all about. This is the game that we should be playing. This is the game we are in, whether you like it or not. Well-being matters, right? And there's a lovely acronym that I have, but not time for that, what I call the BIMS. It's your body, intellect, mind, and spirit. They are interdependent. And the interplay of all this is what makes the magic happen. And then you are a lighter, brighter, and more authentic presence in everything that you do. All right? Okay. So now that you are charged up, knowing and being who you are, take it to the workplace. Oh, this I had a slide in between. This is the LAAF way that I talk about. And the technique that we use, besides yoga, this everything is the components of breathe, move, laugh, dance, play, and meditate. And that is the technique that I created and which I use and my colleagues use in our workplace related or even personal issues of bringing about the change in helping you live a lighter, brighter, and more authentic life. Doing well, for me in the simple forms, is all about being aware, awake, and deliberate. Please mark these 3 words: aware, awake, and deliberate. That is all that matters. It's a very simple way of approaching life and doing your work. In other words, this is what I call thinking and doing with being and feeling. Right? So your wellness component merges with your presence as a leader and shows up in the way you should. Now, we talked about the trilemma earlier, a couple of other things that come in. With all the messing around that's happening in your head, 2 other things happen, and again, these are actual observations and conversations I have had with management in at least about a dozen countries. There is a sense of overwhelm. I don't know if you can identify with your own situation. When too many things are happening, and what you thought would be the right way is not working, or you just don't know what to do, which is not surprising because none of us have trained to manage what is happening right now. And the most serious, concerning aspect is that when you get the sense of overwhelm, you start fearing that you're losing your mojo. Yeah, whatever I do, nothing seems to be working. Is it me? Right? So all these factors, the leadership DNA under attack, your sense of overwhelm, losing your mojo, it creates exhaustion and cynicism. People call it burnout, this, whatever. But in real terms, in my terms, it's just a mental and emotional exhaustion and cynicism creeps in. When that creeps in, friends, it's not good for you, and it's not good for the people around you, it's not good for the business that you're running. So that is why being well and doing well has such importance. At least I believe so, and try to share my message in the larger domain that we all operate in. A shift is needed. How do you do that? Assertive to transformational style, and a transactional to inspirational behavior. Again, it's a large topic. We could have a complete seminar only on this. I thought it best to show you in the form of a chart. I've just taken 4 aspects: style, purpose, approach, and your power source. Because you see, when you have a rank, a leader, you have the director, FMB, CEO, up there on the board, visible 20 feet away. But what people experience and therefore perceive and form an opinion about your leadership is your philosophy, your character, your values. They all show up. Is your style all control and assertive? Is it command and control? Is it inspirational? Is it collaborative? And the purpose, I'm not talking about short-term and long-term. These are existing business-related aspects. I'm talking at an individual level, your persona, you as the individual, as the leader, with responsibilities to people around you, the larger system of shareholders and stakeholders. So this is what I mean, moving from transactional to transformational. Leader and philosophy. So my question to you, tomorrow when you walk into your office, or Monday, which is better, how will you show up? Your style, your mindset, and your behavior. It will not only be decisive for you, but it will decide the behavior, the return gift, I would call, from the employees and all your stakeholders to flourishing and thriving together. Clear so far? Yeah? Are you with me? Can I have a thumbs up? Grazie. So our takeaways so far: your well-being matters. Individual transformation drives collective growth. If somebody I heard going to yoga every day and being passionate and actually doing something to improve their own self, it will show up. It will have a bearing in how you radiate to the external world. And the second part, our second takeaway is from being well to doing well is all about being aware, awake, and deliberate, which requires a shift in your mindset and behavior. So that being so, there's an ad out in the market, in the universe, wanted a heart-centered leader. That's a need of the hour. I mean, we're not losing our minds over this, but definitely, if you believe in what I've said earlier, your approach has to significantly change and adapt. And what I call a values-driven approach to a high-impact, inspirational leadership. Remember, this is your philosophy. This is what the world around you, your co-workers, your teammates, your batchmates at the morning meeting, this is what they experience, and this is what will drive their perception. Big details on this, so rather than, like I said, management 101 or be flexible, communicate better, show up on time, these are all to-do lists, yeah? So you're all familiar with that. But from a well-being perspective, I want you to look at some of these. Again, each point can be elaborated for about a half an hour. One is acceptance. It is not just acknowledgement, it is your acceptance that you have to let go. Step away from your default ways, because your biggest enemy is your status quo. I say a simple thing. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, try brushing your teeth with the left hand. Break your default ways. The brush might go up the nose, doesn't matter. Try it. If you always go to one side of the bed, you're getting off, try getting off from the other side. If you always park reverse, park in front. Each time you do this, it's not just the muscle memory. It is slowly, the shift is occurring in your mindset, in your approach and your behavior. The second one is very important. Be mindful, please, of your limits and distraction. And especially in recent times, I have leaders telling that, what to do? Everybody comes to me with their problem. And what do you do? Yeah, I know he has to leave at 6 o'clock and he's got 3 kids, so I told him I'll do it. All right? Why should you take over somebody else's monkey on your back? So know your limits. Your management span is not unlimited. Know where your priorities lie. Stay with that and let that fact be known all around. Of course, I will help you out. You got some problem? I'm better at formulas. Come shift. I'll bring my chair next to you. I'll make those 2 formulas. Come on. Now you can do the 3rd and 4th one. That is lending a helpful hand. Collaborative. You are being a mate. But to take over somebody's work? No, sir. No, madam. And distraction. There are enough distractions to take you away. Be mindful of that. And the new lenses, earlier someone spoke about DEI. Yes, diversity, inclusion. All these are changing your worldview. You have to adapt and accept it. And then the scouting part. You must have a mindset that looks forward and ready to discover. Tickle your curiosity and imagination. Moderation. These are 2 separate topics in my portfolio when we talk about time optimization, which is chronos and kairos, and energy management. Honor your natural rhythms. We all have our rhythms. If it is going against counter, please speak to your boss and say that, can I do this in the morning? I'm more productive. Instead of 3 hours, I'll do it before 10 o'clock, I'll submit it to you. People will listen. Time optimization between quantitative aspect of time and the qualitative aspect of time. When you get aligned, that's what I call moderation. Paradoxes will always exist and they become more, let's say, stand in your face in the recent months. It's extroversion versus introversion, judging versus perceiving, thinking versus feeling. This is what we were talking about and touching about those subjects very briefly. But you have to be mindful. Do not rush into a decision. You have the right to pause, reflect, and come back with what you think is the right conscious approach to a particular problem. And people will wait, people will listen. So we are talking about conscious leadership as someone who will intentionally promote not just the bottom line, but as you can read, to elevate well-being, happiness, and psychological safety. And in my books, to close the session, and then we have one more little exercise to do. This is one of the takeaways from my early days at the corporate office. One of the best lines, which who knew 20 years later will become a part of my teaching. Remember the Oberoi, and when everything has to be just right. So from extravagance and overindulgence on one side and scarcity on one side, the moderation is what our Oberoi heritage. In the early 90s, when I was in the corporate office, I was exposed to that. Look at the visionary statement then. Did he know that 25 years later I'll talk about it? Or that it is relevant today when everything happens to be just right? So whatever you do, folks, exaggeration, yeah, it's all right. We are all human. We all do things. So one, you ask for a double scoop on your cone. That's all perfectly okay. But when the situation comes, your situational awareness should prompt you, and you have to stay alert that what you're doing is just right, appropriate for that moment with the right amount of energy, and through conscious decisions which are aware, awake, and deliberate. So before I give you the last slide, so one last exercise, you can do it sitting down, and for holding up and at least looking straight at me, even if your eyes are closed, I can't see that. Put your hands out. Ragini, only one. Take it to the back. And pat yourself, hey buddy, I'm good. I'm proud of how far I have come. And that should be on your thought all the time. Look at the success stories around here. I mean, it's not just what I'm hearing this morning, but it's all over. You're all success stories in your own ways. Feel good. Be proud of how far you have come. Whatever the manner that you reached it, whether you became GM in 4 years or 14 years, doesn't matter. So I do that every once in a while. I give myself a pat, saying that, hey, you're doing good, buddy. And it again releases the happy hormone. Thank you. Am I within time? Yeah? Okay.
Just right.
There you are. If there are any questions, I'm happy to field them. Either I have mesmerized you or I have lulled you.
Just right.
So can I expect, yeah, please.
So, when you have to get out of the other side of the bed, you roll over your body.
Now, this raises some interesting options. No, absolutely. And what happens if both of you are following the pattern, both decide to roll at the same time? Right? It's the clash of the titans. You had something on that?
I just had the question of, you asked us to fill this. Was there any reason why you said only 5% have company culture? Is there?
Yeah, I saw by the raising of the hands.
No, but what does it signify anything?
No,
or,
this is actually a separate, this part of a series of little exercises I do when I do a session on another topic. But we are naturally inclined, given our present state as a leader, to respond with a certain intention which is in our mind, right? So, and there are many reasons. I worked with general managers who would let the carpet go. You want to do an R&R and R&M because if the bonus is based on your P&L at the end of the year, So there are different reasons. So there's no clear-cut mandate, but this shows your inclination, let's put it that way. And then you work on where you can do that. At the end of the day, I mean, forget all the PowerPoint and everything that I've said. What really matters is your ability to create that space here. Because if the glass is full, you cannot add anything else. So a lot of the practices that I talk about through laughter, everything, what it does, not only increases the oxygenation, the cardio effect and everything, but it releases space. And when you release and open up, that's when you're good to receive, register, digest, and put out. So whatever you are practicing, whatever you're doing, someone was saying, I eat only fruits. I said, that's perfectly all right. If your body accepts and agrees with you, that's wonderful. Stay away from the kebabs, right? So to each, him or her, their own. But finally it comes down to Sat Chit Anand. Existence, consciousness, bliss. And that is available to everybody. I have no trademark on that, neither does Ravish. Everybody does it in your own way. But please, please, please be conscious of where you are, what you're doing. I lead a happy, when people ask me, I said, I'm contented. Some things work, something don't work. Ki farak penda. You know? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.